What's up, guys? I am here with Caitlin Harris of Tisinger Vance. I was actually had an appointment with Andrew, but he's not feeling well today. So actually, it's a pleasant surprise you're here. So happy to get some documents signed. So what we're going to talk about, she had no idea we were in the video, by the way, is I had a new LLC started for some property in Florida that we're looking at picking up. So I wanted to just get an attorney's opinion about what the importances are of an LLC. So give me your opinion there.
Yeah, so it's important to have an LLC to protect your personal assets.
Okay.
At the end of the day, when you get ready to start a business and it's just your name behind it, then in the event something happens, especially in today's society, and you get sued or there's damage or anything that comes up, then you are personally responsible for that, which means your personal assets, your personal banking account, your primary residence, all of that is up for
everything you work so hard for could be at stake.
Exactly, everything, and that includes, your joint accounts with your family and anything like that. So it's a great risk going at anything just in your only name. So an LLC provides that extra layer of protection so that if you run it as an LLC, supposed to be ran a separate bank account where you keep everything separate, expenses are paid out of that bank account, then what happens is in the event someone sues you or an event comes up, then that person is only limited to that LLC's asset.
Right.
It's also one of the reasons why if you have multiple properties, we recommend multiple different LLCs to protect them.
Sure. So this is a Georgia LLC set up for some property in Florida. It's just a piece of land, a couple pieces of land, lots. And so I won't own them. I have a contract on them, but I will sign that contract to this new LLC that we got started. I had to create it, make sure that the name was available. And so the title will go in the name of that. So if something happens, somebody trips and falls on this property, worst case scenario, even if it was something that I did wrong, the liability stops at this LLC. They can only take what this LLC has. So it's just a much smarter way of doing business, and it does create an extra tax return each year. It does create extra banking fees. You have to have another bank account with it. But in the society we're living in now, and as many attorneys there are out there, the necessary evil, I call it. But this is a good part of law, in my opinion. I think this is smart, and it's a good way to take title of real estate. And I have several different LLCs, and I think it does make sense to utilize them. So thank you for setting it up, and Andrew, and thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to help. Now we just need your signature in a couple of places to make this official.
Okay.
One of which will be your consented member so that you can sign on behalf of the LLC.
Perfect. So the basic parts of the LLC are what? You have to create the name of Secretary of State. I've set up several by myself. I was busy. I said, Andrew, called him and said, please set this up for me because I'm just busy. I'll make sure I get it done in time, and he expedited the process for me. So you pick a name, and then you got to get it registered with the Secretary of State.
Right, so you pick a name, and the most important part about picking a name is going to the Secretary of State's website and making sure that name is not already in use,
right,
or it hasn't been in use in the past 5 years after it's been administratively solved. That's because the Secretary of State is not going to allow you to use the same name that is similar to another person's name, which
Correct.
We all appreciate when we're doing business. So step one is making sure the business name isn't used by another company. Step two is then going onto the Secretary of State's website and registering your LLC.
Right.
So this puts it on the books with the Secretary of State. All companies in the state of Georgia, LLC, corporations, everybody has to be registered with the Secretary of State in Georgia so that they know where to serve you and who's in charge of the company. After that, that's not where it stops. That is just the starting point. So the most important part of an LLC is having an operating agreement.
Bingo.
So that is what we are doing here today. That is the meat and bones of an LLC. That tells how the LLC is to be governed, who's to sign on behalf of it, how the assets are to be managed, and in the event of a dissolution, what's supposed to happen. So even though you registered the LLC with the Secretary of State, you haven't actually created what needs to be done for an LLC. In order to operate, you've got to have that operating agreement. If you go to buy any property in an LLC's names, any real estate attorney's firm is going to ask you to see the operating agreement to see who has power to sign for that property.
Right, and to be able to start a bank account, you need that.
Correct, as well as a tax identification number.
Sure.
Especially for real estate. If it's a sole member LLC, you can use your own social. However, if you're in real estate or in a company that's giving out invoices, or you're at a closing table a lot, then you want to have its own tax identification number so that your Social Security is found on all the documents.
And that's usually the route that I choose, especially with this one. And at the moment, this particular scenario is, there's three lots, and It's right on the water, so I want to make sure, on a little river, I want to make sure that, one, it does have its own separate scenario, own tax ID, and I'm closing this individually. The intent is to build some stuff on it, to have some investment income. I'm not going to do that on my own. I will take on partners of some stance. So we set it up. That's one of the questions Andrew asked, is it who else can be on here? I don't know yet. So we set it up right now. So the operating agreement is just me. I have a strong feeling that we would come in here in a month or two and say, hey, add these people at this percentage of ownership, and then we will figure out how to do it, and possibly even doing more than one LLC. So, but you got to start somewhere, and starting from the beginning clean is the best way to do it. On the flip side, if you are getting a loan, sometimes it might be easier to buy it in your name and then put into the LLC at the closing. That's a whole lending strategy, but this is a different kind of transaction. So just a simple land purchase. So, but thank you so much for setting it up and clarifying that. And hopefully you guys get out and start investing and be smart with it. If someone does have rental properties and want to put into an LLC, you can give Caitlin or Andrew a call here at Tisinger, and they're more than happy to help you out.
Absolutely.